The title of the video kind of says it all. Jurassic Park sequels suck. Hi everyone, this is Ricky from the future. I interrupt this video with a unfortunate message. If you did not already know, the SNAP benefits for millions of Americans are being cut right now. In fact, on November 1st, this November 1st, people are going to be running out of money for food. So I personally am not a person who really likes to hear about suffering and not try and do something about it, but I am also a broke college student, literally filming this while I wait for my college class to start. So I am using this video to try and raise money for Feeding America and other mutual aid programs. If you can see down below, there is a fundraiser attached to this where you can donate yourself, or if you are also a broke college student like me, you can just share, comment, like, boost this video in the algorithm so that I can take a portion of the proceeds of this video and donate it to mutual aid funds. I've experienced homelessness in my life, so I am aware of how traumatizing it can be to not have the resources that you need to live. And I was very lucky when I was homeless to have had people help me and donate to me, and I just want to give some of that back right now, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could help me with that. So like I said, if you can donate via the link down below, or like, share, comment on this video, boost me in the algorithm so that I can donate as much as possible to people who need it. So back to the previously scheduled message. I'm not saying you can't enjoy Jurassic Park sequels. I mean, I definitely do. In fact, I enjoy a myriad of bad movies and TV. I've seen Dragonheart a million times, and I've watched almost every single season of Love is Blind, and Love Never Dies is my guilty pleasure musical.
We're talking about how fucking crazy Maddie is, which you can't seem to fucking comprehend.
No, what you don't understand, Nate, is I am crazier!
That's not something to be fucking proud of, Cassie!
Bad stuff is not necessarily bad. A lot of the time, these pieces of media are still enjoyable. However, from a storytelling structure perspective, many of them don't work. Except Dragonheart. That one is stupid, but it works. And if it works and it's stupid, then it ain't stupid.
They're trying to placate you with a sacrifice.
Whoever gave them that bright idea?
Never mind. Just get rid of her.
Oh!
Eat her.
Oh, please, yeah.
Aren't we squeamish? You ate Sir Eglamour, hypocrite.
I also don't want to shit too much on the sequels either. After all, like I said, I think they're enjoyable. And on top of that, Bryce Dallas Howard is my mutual on Instagram, and she's a wonderful human being who I really love supporting in any way that I can. But, and no fault to her or any of the performers in them, the Jurassic Park sequels just don't work. Or at least they definitely don't work in the way that the original Jurassic Park worked. And they definitely don't feel as enjoyable. Again, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy them, of course. But I want you to really ask yourself, do you like them as much as the original Jurassic Park? Because I'm willing to bet, not really. No, I'm a lifelong Jurassic Park fan, okay? Alright, well, definitely not lifelong. I mean, my dad took me to see a screening in the theaters when I was 3. We had to leave after the first 10 minutes because I couldn't stop screaming. And then, of course, that led to the nightmares of me getting eaten by a dinosaur, which definitely didn't last up until I was 12 years old. My point is that the film had a lasting impact on me, okay? One that was so deep, I was convinced that the animatronics in the Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios were actually real dinosaurs that would pick a person to eat in every boat. But with the sequels, aside from maybe one shot of a T-Rex eating a dog, they didn't leave that kind of lasting impact on me. So why is that? It was just because I was old? No, because I still have that reoccurring nightmare of the dinosaurs. So what is it that they are missing? Well, let's answer the question 65 million years in the making. Why do all the Jurassic Park sequels suck?
You want to consult here or in my bungalow?
It's not funny.
Do you like my silly straw? It's got a dinosaur on it. The Jurassic Park movies are based on 2 novels of the same name. Steven Spielberg, a friend and frequent collaborator of Michael Crichton's, was so intrigued by the concept that he purchased the film rights before the first book was even finished. You know, I actually read the first novel while I was hiding from some 6th grade bullies. Man, high school was tough. I'm just kidding. It was 3 weeks ago. The influence of the novel actually came from some real-world science of the time, drawing on George Poignard's 1982 paleontological discovery of mosquitoes preserved in amber and experimentation in the 1950s with the cloning the nuclei of a leopard frog DNA. This inspires the whole frog DNA explanation, which in the novel also led to the idea of the T-Rex only seeing movement, despite scientists already knowing at the time that T-Rexes had outstanding eyesight. So the next time somebody points out that scientific inaccuracy, let them know that they are an illiterate whore! That was really aggressive. I'm sorry, you're not a whore. You're just a bitch. What is wrong with me today? This is my first one and I've had too many. Like the whole eyesight plot point, though, there were a lot of other changes in adaptation when it came to that first novel and film. The infant T-Rex appears in the first novel, not just the second.
Mommy's very angry.
And several characters who survive in the film were actually killed in the novel, such as Dr. Hammond and Ian Malcolm.
You put a tourniquet on. Ian.
Remind me to thank John for a lovely weekend.
Even though, yes, Ian Malcolm does return in the second novel as the main character, and this is explained with a simple sentence. The doctors did amazing work. It is brilliantly lazy exposition, and I am here for it.
That's chaos theory.
And it's through the character changes that we see one of the largest deviations from the novel, that being theming. Theme is often said to be the idea of want versus need, with the wants of the main characters being the literal journey that the characters take throughout the story, and the need being the lessons they learned along the way, whether they get what they want or not. That is the math equation that leads you to what the story is trying to say at the end of the day, rather than just what the plot is about. The first Jurassic Park is about cloning dinosaurs to create a theme park akin to Disney's Animal Kingdom. I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I'm pretty sure Michael Eisner would have literally actually used real dinosaurs for Animal Kingdom if he could have. That is the story of Jurassic Park. But the theme of the film is you cannot control nature. When it comes to monster movies like Jurassic Park, foreshadowing, another easy way of figuring out the theme is to take away the monsters and see what the story truly is. And if you take that method with Jurassic Park, the theme is not just about man's hubris over nature, but it's about Come in. Damn it, Patrice, I'm filming! And if you take that method with Jurassic Park, the theme is not just about man's hubris over nature, but it's about creation. And on a deeper level, it's about parenthood. Specifically, bad parenthood.
I never knew my father!
Come here. We're all my...
John Hammond was changed from being an overly ambitious businessman who values profit over people, just like Michael Eisner.
How about animals? And then somebody else said, oh, Disney's Animal Kingdom. And those three words had magic to them, and from then, 9 years later, and a few dollars into it, was ready to shoot the person that said Animal Kingdom.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Yesterworld videos lately, so I'm kind of on the Michael Eisner hate train right now.
Iger, it's Eisner. Remember that idea I had about turning Carousel of Progress into Captain America's America?
Okay, I'll do it.
John Hammond is more of an altruistic grandpa in the films who says things like,
we spared no expense.
And that paternal instinct is evident in his insistence on being present at the hatching of every dinosaur on the island.
They imprint on the first creature they come in contact with. That's it. Helps him to trust me.
To him, these little dino monsters are just as much his babies as his own grandchildren.
Kids! Get away!
We miss you.
However, he's not a good parent to these children, just as he's not a healthy grandparent to his own grandchildren.
Robert, I wonder if perhaps you would be good enough to take a gas jeep and bring back my grandchildren.
Yes, he loves them all dearly, but if you truly love something, you have to understand that though you created these people and these things, you have no control over them. They are their own autonomous beings, making their own choices largely dependent on the upbringing that you provided them. And when they make these choices, your only hope is to pray that you provided in enough caution and enough safety nets to protect yourself and them from potentially devastating consequences of those actions. I think I'm already tipsy. The biggest exploration of this parenting theme, however, is actually in our main character, Dr. Grant. Director Steven Spielberg has a long history of films involving absentee or just plain old bad fathers, with movies like E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I mean, Adrian Brody in Jaws is probably the best father out of all of his early films, and even then, he's kind of separate from those kids' lives.
Get out of that boat!
Hi, Dad! Just a little longer, please!
Martin, it's his birthday tomorrow.
I don't want him on the ocean.
He's not on the ocean. He is in a boat. He's not going to go in the water.
This is largely because Steven Spielberg himself did not have a good relationship with his own father growing up, blaming his father for his parents' very traumatizing divorce, even after finding out that it was his mother who was the one who initiated it. However, as Steven Spielberg's personal life evolved, especially after becoming a father himself, we can see a shift in his perspective on those bad fathers as evidenced in films like Hook, which underwent a dramatic tonal shift from its initial script and then after the birth of Steven Spielberg's first child when it was filmed. When Dr. Grant begins his story, he and Dr. Sattler have very different views on the future as a couple, especially regarding the topic of children. Dr. Sattler wants children, but Dr. Grant really does not.
Look, they're noisy, they're messy, they're expensive. Cheap.
In fact, he hates children, to the point where his first interaction with a film in the movie is him traumatizing the shit out of one kid.
Maybe across the belly, spilling your intestines. The point is, you are alive when they start to eat you. So, try to show a little respect.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Is it fucked up? Yeah. But I also find it hilarious, and I'm going to hell. But then, after the dinosaurs start on the rampage, it's Dr. Grant who is the one stuck with the job of protecting the kids. This is what we call dramatic irony. Only, it's the kind that doesn't end in a character's death. As the movie progresses, he learns more about being a parent to children, to the point where, at the end of the film, one of the last shots shows Ellie lovingly looking at Dr. Grant as the children are asleep in his arms. He's not shrinking away, he's not reluctant. By this point in the film, he loves these children, and he feels as if he's a father to them, and they feel the same about him. And when it comes to the sequels, this is why it doesn't make sense for Ellie and Dr. Grant to have been broken up in the third film, with the reason seemingly being the kid issue again. Dr. Grant and Ellie divorcing completely defies the theme and overall character arc that Alan had in the first film. It's not a necessity that a film have the same exact theme as its predecessor. The Last of Us video game series is a perfect example of this. The theme of Part 1 is finding love after apocalypse, and the theme of Part 2 is revenge for when that family is taken from you. But you see what it did there? It still ties into the theme of its predecessor, while largely expanding upon it in its own unique twist. And like The Last of Us TV series, which I didn't see the second season of, but I did largely hear that it failed to live up to or expand upon the themes of both The Last of Us Season 1 and The Last of Us Part 2 video game upon which it was based. And the Jurassic Park sequels do the same. The only one of the sequels that even comes close to actually upholding or paying homage to the themes of the original is arguably the first Jurassic World movie, which was one of the pioneers of the requel era of films, to which it's both a sequel and reboot of an entire franchise.
See, you can't just reboot a franchise from scratch anymore. The fans won't stand for it. Black Christmas, Child's Play, Flatliners, that shit doesn't work. But you can't just do a straight sequel either. You gotta build something new, but not too new, or the internet goes bug fucking nuts. It's gotta be part of an ongoing storyline, even if the story shouldn't have been ongoing in the first place.
Jurassic World follows almost entirely the same plot lines and character developments of the original, only this time with the park actually open to the public. It further expands on the idea and the illusion of control over nature, and through the character of Claire, it also explores the whole aspect of leaning into being a parent.
Ugh, you're using mom's lines now?
Oh my God, I am using mom's lines. I'm sorry, but I have to tell you they work. You'll see when you have kids.
Yeah, if.
When?
Jurassic World follows almost entirely the same plot lines and character developments of the original, only this time with the park actually open to the public. It further expands on the idea of the illusion of control over nature, and through the character Claire, it explores the whole aspect of learning to be a parent. Of course, because we have a female main character, hers doesn't end with the children finding a sense of safety in her, and instead with Chris Pratt.
This does not feel safe.
Can we stay with you? I am never leaving you as long as you live.
No.
They're like, you can't just pull your dick out. I was like, why?
Yeah, definitely him.
She literally guns down the dinosaurs in front of them, and they're like, no, we feel safer with him. What? However, the Jurassic World series is what really highlights the downfall of Jurassic Park franchise as a whole. The rest of the films drop the idea of theming, instead substituting it with half-baked messages on climate change and environmentalism, which really don't blend with the ways the films play out plot-wise.
Do you have kids? Okay, so your kids. An entire generation has grown up in a world where dinosaurs are living and breathing. But soon they're going to have to watch them go extinct. Or not. If people like you make a difference.
While environmental messaging can and is a theme within a lot of media, particularly media made by Hayao Miyazaki, who is in and of himself a filmmaker with a damn near perfect catalog of films, his environmental messaging is still heavily tied to the arcs and development of his main characters. And with these sequels, they're really just not. They play out less like a genuine exploration of dinosaurs and humanity, but like a Fast and the Furious movie, only with dinos and no cars. And that right there is the reason why the Jurassic Park sequels fail to capture the magic and mystique of the first film. Because Jurassic Park is not an action movie. Jurassic Park is a horror movie. Jurassic Park is, at the end of the day, structured like a horror film, especially the horror monster movie kind. Some would argue that it falls more under the umbrella of a thriller, largely due to its PG-13 rating and the fact that it's not particularly gory. And while it definitely can be considered a thriller, I personally disagree with that categorization. The line between thriller and horror is honestly kind of arbitrary, but basically it comes down to whether or not the end goal of the author or creator is to thrill and excite you for a thriller, or disgust and scare you for a horror.
You're gonna love this. We got a surprise for you, Cindy. Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's a scream, baby. Hold on a sec.
And the reason I say that that line between them is arbitrary is because honestly both genres tend to borrow elements from the other.
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Silence of the Lambs is considered one of the best psychological thrillers of all time, but it borrows a lot of elements from horror films, especially the slasher genre, particularly with the grand escape of Hannibal at the midpoint of the film. And is that scene where Hannibal literally cuts off a man's face, wears it for himself, not meant to scare and disgust you? Honestly, the biggest difference between thrillers and horror is whether or not they use monsters or aspects of the paranormal. The second magic or scary monsters are involved, it's basically automatically horror.
Shut up!
We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. Not another peep. Time to go to sleep.
If you look at the ways in which Jurassic Park is structured, especially in the treatment of its apex predators and how they are shot and edited in the film, they're shot less like creatures to be awed, and rather more like something that stalks you in the middle of the night, ready to kill you at any moment. Like my anxiety and depression. I wish that was a joke. There are, of course, also moments where they are shot with the intent to thrill you. I mean, who isn't thrilled by that iconic shot of the T-Rex roaring as she takes her rightful place as ruler of the Earth? A true feminist icon. But contrast this with the way that the velociraptors are shot, with them not even being fully shown to the audience until the moment that she literally eats the face off her captor.
Clever girl.
I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother.
This is peak feminism. Before this, the only thing we see of the raptors is not them themselves, but rather the aftermath or responses to their terror. Just listen to these sound effects in the steer scene. You mean to tell me that isn't designed to disgust and scare you? Those are some rated R sound effects. In the Jurassic Park sequels, however, we see them slowly eliminate that fear and mystery that made the dinosaurs so scary in the first place. And as the films have gone on, they've even left behind any thrilling elements or psychological tension, instead replacing them with car chases. Yeah, we have car chases in Jurassic Park now. I think the one that felt the most betrayed by this aspect was Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which, unlike the others, was advertised like a horror film, something that I thought was a smart move. But then, in watching the film, not only were the characters just one-note, badly written forms of social commentary that doesn't trust its audience enough to get it without spelling it out for you.
So, take your own damn samples.
What a nasty woman.
I thought at one point Ted Levine was gonna turn to the camera and say,
"Women are stupid and I don't respect them."
There are horror elements to these films that are more akin to the original, but they peter out, almost like they're worried that if they don't have some sort of CGI action sequence, the audience will turn it off. And speaking of CGI, for a movie all about literally bringing dinosaurs to life, these dinosaurs don't seem to actually live anywhere on screen.
These really incredible and wonderfully talented people who are the best in the business have created dinosaurs that look better than anything you have ever seen in your life.
Really? Really, Chris Pratt? Better than anything I've ever seen in my life? Better than, the first fucking movie? I am not completely anti-CGI. I mean, the original Jurassic Park has some of the best CGI animations still to this day. However, they knew when to use it and when to use actual animatronics. Take the iconic T-Rex rain scene, for example, which, aside from the shots of the T-Rex walking, running, and eating a lawyer, the vast majority of it is achieved through animatronic puppetry. So when these kids are screaming that the dinosaur bursts through the glass roof of their car, there was no acting required because holy shrimp, that scene is genuinely terrifying. And it apparently wasn't just terrifying for the actors either, because I guess the water from the rain messed with the animatronic so much, it would just randomly come alive when it was turned off between takes. That is like Five Nights at Freddy's times 1,000 level of terrifying. The overusage of CGI also heavily contributes to the rejection of the horror-based elements of the original Jurassic Park movie. If you look at the horror genre as a whole, CGI is used fairly minimally, and movies that do use more of it tend not to do well with critics or audiences. The reason CGI is so limited in its usage with horror is because our eyes as viewers are trained to recognize it. We know when something's not real, even if it looks like it's really there. And with animatronics, even if we can tell it's fake, it still tends to frighten us more than CGI does. For example, compare another classic Spielberg horror, Jaws, to something like 47 Meters Down. The sharks in both of these movies look fake as hell. We can tell they're not real. But the animatronic is the only one that still somehow feels real, even if we know it's not. It's fairly well known at this point that the animatronic shark was difficult to work with, to say the least.
Wherever you were on the island, you could hear the radio mics. And they were always saying, "The shark is not working. The shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working."
With the fakeness of it largely coming from the animatronic just not functioning half of the time. But even with that setback, the shark still manages to be scary on its own with just glimpses of it in the water. While 47 Meters Down, on the other hand, along with other shark movies in modern day, mostly just have to rely on jump scares. And even then, they're not that scary after like the second time.
Oh, bitch, you've got to go and get that. Oh my god.
But with Jaws, do you want to be in the water with that shark? When the Jurassic Park sequels do employ puppetry and animatronics, it's only done in close-up shots, while the rest of the dinos are rendered using CGI. Compare the scenes involving the Indominus Rex in the sequels to the iconic T-Rex scene from the original. Which one of them genuinely scares you to the point of nightmares? Definitely the animatronic for me. I mean, don't even take my word for it. That's quite literally what Steven Spielberg said when they were making the damn thing.
You like it?
I love it.
It's coming along
It's a
really
nightmare.
good, isn't it?
I think my
It's the
kids
first
are going to
time.
love to come to the set and see this guy, and then they're going to want to go home.
And this doesn't just stop at film either, it translates to the real world too. If you've ever been to Universal Studios theme parks, you may have participated in the Raptor Encounter, where you get to meet one of the velociraptors from the movie. When I worked at Universal Studios, I would see that every single day, and without fail, that raptor would terrify people. Shell, I lost my dino! I would just like to get through one of these videos without messing with my drinks. We know the raptor is fake. We know she's not a real dinosaur, but she still feels real, and she feels scary because she's actually there.
I wasn't going to say anything, but your boom mic actually looks like a small mouse. She eats mice.
And look, I know animatronics are expensive, but sharking hell, you're a Jurassic Park movie! You're gonna be expensive! Be a John Hammond and
Spared no expense.
The original Jurassic Park film has a lot more in common with classic horror stories such as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or The Isle of Dr. Monroe. In fact, in his essay replicating... Damn it, Patrice! My dog won't stop. She just needs to be allowed. In fact, in his essay replicating a dinosaur, Authenticity Run Amok in Theme Parking in Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park and Julian Barnes' England, God, that's a sentence. Film scholar James J. Mracky argues that Jurassic Park takes the themes of Julian Barnes' novel England, which talks about the dangers of replicating reality in order to distort and commodify it. Jurassic Park tells the same story, but through the lens of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! Oh, in the name of God! Now I know what it feels like to be God!
Jurassic Park uses the same monster motifs to describe the desire to control the very concept of creation.
Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
This is also why Jurassic Park, like many other monster movies that took inspiration from Frankenstein, has deep-rooted feminist tones to it, as the act of creation and life and the ethics around controlling that creation is in and of itself a feminist concept, because, womb and birth and beginning, they're all the creation of life. And if you think I'm reading way too deep into things, wait until you read philosopher and film critic Jean Baudrillard's Simulacra and Simulation, which takes a neo-Marxist look into the commodification and exploitation of reality through the lens of Disneyland. But sure, I'm a bimbo and cringy Disney adult, so who cares about all that smart talk? If you want a good example of what a good Jurassic Park film in modern day would look like, look no further than Jordan Peele's 2022 film Nope.
My name is Emerald, that's OJ, and we are your animal wranglers today with Haywood Hollywood horses.
Like Jurassic Park, Nope is a sci-fi horror film that explores the themes of man's dominance over nature.
What if I told you that in about an hour, you'll leave here different?
The alien is treated as a mystery to be feared, understood, and above all, respected. But more than that, the fighting against the alien and the need to survive is also treated as a metaphor for things like white supremacy. White supremacy is harmful to everyone, and characters like Jupiter, a former child star turned theme park entrepreneur, highlights the dangers of hubris in thinking that white supremacy won't come for you. Jupiter thinks that he's conquered the beast just by the merit of working hard and perseverance.
We are being surveilled by an alien species I call the viewers. And though they have yet to emerge from their ship, I believe they trust me. If they didn't, I don't think any of us would be here right now.
But this hubris is what leads the beast to not only devour him, but his entire family. I know people think that Jordan Peele only has black characters survive his films because he's somehow racist against white people, which he's not. Like, are you really that fragile? Are you really that fragile? I don't even know why I'm asking. The answer is yes. But beyond his desire to see black characters survive and thrive in horror solely because he himself never had that opportunity growing up, Nope especially highlights the reasons why black characters survive in his movies. The black characters OJ and Emmy survive because they were raised to understand when to keep your head down and still in order to prioritize your own survival, and knowing when the right time is to get loud and fight back against it. Horror done well, in my opinion, is when the monster, the slasher, or the supernatural being is used as a metaphor for the inner turmoil of the main characters, an external example of how these characters feel on the inside. Nope uses the alien to highlight OJ's internal struggle with his identity as a black man in the world after the death of his father, and Jurassic Park uses dinosaurs to highlight Dr. Grant's identity as a potential father. Horror is an extremely underrated genre that is often overlooked in critical studies, as many perceive it merely as an excuse for blood and gore. But it's much more than guts and gore, and Jurassic Park is a perfect example of how horror films can leave a lasting impact on you without you even realizing it has. You know, like having nightmares about dinosaurs chasing you outside your window until you finally realize that the dinosaurs actually did go extinct and the ones that you were most afraid of evolved to be tiny enough that you could punt them if you needed to. Take that, velociraptors! Jordan Peele is one of the best directors around right now who understands this concept. The horror thing, not the dinosaur punting. He knows how to blend horror elements, when to hold back, and how to balance these elements with a lighter tone to make it more impactful and memorable. Like, yeah, did anyone else know the drastic shift in color palette and cinematography between the Jurassic Park films? God forbid you actually see anything in these movies or have anything stand out. The Jurassic Park franchise won't be fixed just by adding animatronics back in, especially when there's still so much CGI over them that just makes it not blend, like, at all. The only thing that can save the Jurassic Park franchise is to return it to its roots. Its horror roots. And an exceptional girl boss feminism. A true icon. Hi there! Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more critical analysis into film and television. Today's comment section secret message is Michael Crichton is a robot. Prove me wrong. Why? Because I worship chaos and live to confuse people who don't watch all the way to the end of my videos. Today's Patreon shoutout goes to two patrons, Carl Skipper and Zombie Agogo. I know I've shouted you out both so many times before, but you were just so active in our little member group chat over on Patreon, and you never cease to entertain me with your cat pictures, memes, and random shark items out in the wild. You guys seriously make my day every time I log into Patreon and really remind me why I make the content I make. A lot of my videos don't hit the algorithm and don't get the views that I hope they will, and I wind up getting really, really depressed when that happens, but every time I open up Patreon, I see you guys and that chat, and that reminds me why I do this, why I put in so much effort and care. Because even if just 2 people are enjoying my work, that means the work was worth doing. If you would like to be our next patron shoutout, be sure to check on our Patreon or YouTube memberships down below. There you get priority requests on what videos you want to see from me, early access to my content, scripts, and final drafts of my videos weeks ahead of time. You can also get exclusive content made just for you, including film reviews and actual lessons I'm learning in my MFA program for all you writers out there. Because I'm spending $40,000 a semester, so you don't have to. My bad life choices work for you. Like I mentioned in the shoutout, you can also gain access to a member-only group chat where you can chat with me in real time. And all for prices as low as $3 per month. Because I'm nothing if not a cheap whore. Along with our comment section secret message, be sure to let me know what video you'd like for me to do next. Type it up down in the comment section down below. And until then, I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!